Welcome to Bethune-Cookman University and the Wildcat Football Insider. I'm Lynn Thompson along with head football coach Terry Sims. Today we'll talk about the season opening loss at the University of North Texas, 41-20. The Cats lose it, coach, and what was your de facto season opener as a result of the suspended game the week before against Alcorn State? And your Wildcat football team played like their first time out. You saw a lot of bright spots, but you were overall disappointed in the performance of the team.
Yeah, you know, we had a lot of first game jitters, a lot of first game mistakes, but hopefully we can look at the tape and make some corrections and be better on Saturday. You have already looked, knowing you, Coach, you've already looked at the tape. And one of the things that we did notice was that special teams, we were able to capitalize on a lot of special teams opportunities. We gave up one ourselves, but most importantly, Frank Brown with a magnificent 88-yard punt return. Coach, we also blocked a punt from North Texas, and a lot of other individual plays that give you reason for great optimism, don't it? Yeah, we've been working hard on our special teams. Coach Sean Larkins is doing a great job with our special teams. We're working hard on with those guys, and we have a lot of our starters that have volunteered to be on special teams to help make our total team better. And, you know, Frank Brown, he stepped up this week and made a big play, and Daquan Richardson, he went in and blocked the punt. So those two guys are two guys that played well for us last year, but they're expanding their roles this year, and hopefully it'll take us into a great season. Coach, we noticed you played three quarterbacks, and I know that you said earlier in the season that Larry Brim was the starter at that time, and that you would not be surprised, or the fans shouldn't be surprised if you played maybe two or three quarterbacks, and you did that. Anthony Cruz plays a series, and then Arkevius Williams plays a series in the fourth quarter, and he showed you exactly what folks thought he could do. He steps off an 85-yard touchdown run out of the pocket, and this kid probably is auditioning for more playing time. No question. All three of those guys, they went in and proved that they could run our offense and lead this football team, and you may see a three-quarterback system. We're going to do whatever it takes for us to win football games. Mike Jones, our conference, all-conference running back, continues to be out, Coach. And you were able to put a bevy of running backs back there. Tupac Ishmael, you got Levy, then you also had Cameron Rigby running the football in addition to Jamaris Tompkins. Those four guys, you're going to find the right combination, I assume. Right, we'll do the same thing with the running backs. Mm-hmm. We're going to play all those guys, and they all have roles, and they all know their roles, and they understand their roles, and they're going to do whatever we need them to do to help us be successful. Defensively, Coach, we were pretty solid. You know, North Texas did get a couple of good drives, particularly one early in the fourth quarter when we were threatening to really get back in the football game. They capitalized. When you look at the game stats and the game notes, they really did capitalize off of missed cues that we made. Right, and that's what good football teams do. You can't go into a football game with a talented football team and make the mistakes that we made, because they're going to capitalize on them, and it's going to be hard for you to fight back. One penalty that we had 10 for 79 yards on the day, but one in particular, a 3rd and 8, and they were deep in their own territory, and we get I think we get an offsides on a defensive back, and that shortens the distance. They throw a swing pass, get a first down, get momentum, and ultimately drive down, take up some time, and score. Correct, and you know, having miscues like that is unacceptable. And the young man that did it, he understands his mistake, and I guarantee it won't happen again. Coach, we did get an interception, as you mentioned, Daquan, for a touchdown. That was a huge play on the day, and when you look up in terms of that, gave us momentum. We would look, and we have always been an emotional defensive football team where we play steady, but then something big happens and momentum gets up and gets on our side, and we're able to capitalize on that. That's when we got a spark. Right, and that's one of the bright spots that I did take away from the game. Those guys never gave up. They continued to play, and they were going to play until the last whistle blew. So I am proud of that, and that shows that there is some light at the end of the tunnel. One thing happened that we've never seen happen before, and that was Uriel Hernandez missed an extra point. Yeah, you know, Uriel has been a little under the weather, and he has some issues with one of his eyes. Uh-huh. So he was a little down on himself, and his timing was not actually there. He wasn't able to practice a lot last week, so I attribute that to him just not being focused and being all there.
Yes, first one he's ever missed in his career here. We'll turn our attention when we come back to specific things that happen on offense and personnel, as well as defense. And then for the rest of the show, we'll talk about a host of exciting things happening at BCU this week, including our Hall of Fame celebration and, of course, the big game when Tennessee State University comes to Daytona Beach.
In the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, we believe the game of life shouldn't be a game of chance. That's why we're taught to work as hard in the classroom as we do on the field. Because you're not just playing for the trophy, you're playing for the ultimate prize, your future. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, 13-member institutions, 16 championships, one goal, educating student athletes for the game of life.
At BCU, every game is a life lesson.
A chance to show faith,
respect,
and sportsmanship.
It's bigger than winning or losing.
There's life beyond the game. Opportunities beyond the classroom.
Responsibilities to our community.
On a much larger stage.
As ambassadors to the world.
Leaders, champions, we are Wildcats. And we believe in faith, integrity, and love. Enter to learn, depart to serve. That's the Bethune-Cookman way. Go Wildcats!
Do you want to wear what the real Wildcats wear? You can get your official BCU Wildcat team gear from the comfort of your own home online at bcusportshop.com, the official online store of BCU Wildcat Athletics. Save your gas money. Avoid the hassles in the mall. Click on bcusportshop.com and get the best in Wildcat wear delivered to you in just 48 hours. bcusportshop.com, the official Wildcat online store.
The DNA of Bethune-Cookman comes from the heart of a great woman whose legacy lives on today in each and every Wildcat.
I leave you love.
I leave you hope.
I leave you a thirst for education.
I leave you faith.
I leave you, finally, a responsibility to our young people.
Great leaders always leave something for others to follow.
What will you leave us?
Welcome back to the BCU Football Insider. I'm Lynn Thompson here with head coach Terry Sims. Coach, offensively, and we said we'd break these things down. Let's take a look at the stats now for the game. We managed net passing yards 74, net rushing yards 32 attempts for 157 yards on a day, a grand total offense of 231 yards, Coach, in 51 plays. Now, the one thing that does not stand out is the 51 plays, because normally we're averaging 72, 73 plays a game.
Yeah, and that happens when you have too many 3 and outs.
Yeah.
You know, your play total goes down, and we had a few miscues with our offensive line, and that caused for them to have, you know, tackles for loss or sacks, and you have 2nd and long and 3rd and long, and there are really no plays for 3rd and 17.
Right.
So, you know, that put us behind a little bit with our play count, and it causes for you to have a 51-play game.
Let's talk about, Coach, the beginning of the football game. We won the toss and elected to receive. Well, what was the strategy there? You just wanted us to get out there quickly?
I just wanted to get going and see what our offense was made of. I wanted to see those guys go out and take the ball down the field and see what would happen.
Okay, the very first play of the game, Coach, zone read, Larry decides to give the ball to Jamaris Tompkins, who's tackled for no gain. But if he pulls it,
he's still running. If he pulls the ball, he's still running, and he knew it as soon as he gave it. He looked up and he saw all green grass, and he knew he should have pulled the ball. But that happens. It was the first play of the game, and you know he was a little nervous, I'm sure, and a little anxious at the same time, and things happen.
Now let's qualify that, because I played quarterback in college and we ran the option, and a lot of times when you are reading your keys, you still have to read the athleticism of the guy that's your key.
No question.
And because I have seen guys before who are so athletic that they defy what the philosophy says, you know, that this guy, it's impossible for this guy to move here and then tip the pitch as you make the pitch. And I've seen it happen. So does that come into play where you really got to get into the flow of the game too sometimes?
It does. And playing at this level, you have guys with that type of athleticism. You have guys that can play two guys at once. So you have to, get into the flow of the game. You have to make sure that you've watched those guys play for a couple series so you know if a guy's stiff, if a guy can make this move, if a guy can come in and make this play, at any given time.
Okay, now, continue with the offense, Coach. You were able to really execute with the short passing game a little bit, and you spread the ball around. You had 4 different receivers that make the catches. Jawil with 4 catches and for 49 yards, but the one that he'll probably want back was in the fourth quarter, a certain touchdown pass that went through his hands.
And Jawil probably has a set of the best hands on this football team. I'm still trying to figure out what happened. He'll catch that ball 5 times in practice every day. And, he missed that one. I think he took his eyes off of it, thinking that it was a routine play, and he ended up missing it.
Yeah.
But, we did spread the ball around to a number of receivers. And, their corners played off a little bit, so it made it a little bit easier for us to catch the hitches and catch the quick outs. And we threw a couple screens on them as well.
Now, a couple of slants for sure first downs were bobbled. Kevon Mitchell bobbled one. A fourth down call, John Tavius Carter across the middle. And it's hard to determine maybe if Larry threw it too hard or if he just couldn't hold on to the ball.
Well, when you get plays like that, the receivers, they're looking up and looking at grass and space and area a little bit too early. Yeah. They're thinking, I'm going to catch the ball, and they're trying to see where am I going to run. And instead of taking their head and eyes to the ball and focusing on the catch first, they try and look for a place to run before the ball is secure.
Flip the side of the ball and let's talk defensive line play, Coach. Early in the football game, we were very stout. But most folks don't understand or realize that, depth came into play because they switched the offensive lines twice in the football game on us. So how do you think the defensive line did?
Well, we have to do a better job of subbing our defensive line. We subbed them, we tried to keep up with their substitution, but they were putting fresh guys in, a little bit faster than we were. And we started having some injuries, so that cut down on our numbers as far as our defensive linemen and the guys that we could actually sub in the football game.
Well, Coach, and you got to understand this. You're playing a Division I football team at home. They've got more scholarships. They've got more players. They got a home roster. We've got a travel roster out there. And so that's a part of the strategy, to sub fresh guys in.
It is, but I'm not going to use it as an excuse.
Right.
When we load up and ride the bus over to the stadium, we're going to get off and walk in the locker room and get dressed just like they do, and we're going to hit the field and play football.
Okay. The Cats lose the opener 41-20 at North Texas State. We'll come back in just a few moments as we begin to turn our attention now to this week, Hall of Fame weekend. 13 phenomenal Wildcats will be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it'll be culminated with the big battle Saturday against the Tennessee State Tigers here in Daytona Beach.
Do you want to wear what the real Wildcats wear? You can get your official BCU Wildcat team gear from the comfort of your own home online at bcusportshop.com, the official online store of BCU Wildcat Athletics. Save your gas money. Avoid the hassles in the mall. Click on bcusportshop.com and get the best in Wildcat wear delivered to you in just 48 hours. bcusportshop.com, the official Wildcat online store.
At BCU, every game is a life lesson.
A chance to show faith,
respect, and sportsmanship.
It's bigger than winning or losing.
There's life beyond the game. Opportunities beyond the classroom.
Responsibilities to our community
on a much larger stage.
As ambassadors to the world.
Leaders, champions, we are Wildcats. And we believe in faith, integrity, and love. Enter to learn, depart to serve. That's the Bethune-Cookman way. Go Wildcats!
The DNA of Bethune-Cookman comes from the heart of a great woman whose legacy lives on today in each and every Wildcat.
I leave you love.
I leave you hope.
I leave you a thirst for education.
I leave you faith.
I leave you, finally, a responsibility to our young people.
Great leaders always leave something for others to follow.
What will you leave us?
In the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, we believe the game of life shouldn't be a game of chance. That's why we're taught to work as hard in the classroom as we do on the field. Because you're not just playing for the trophy, you're playing for the ultimate prize, your future. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, 13-member institutions, 16 championships, one goal, educating student athletes for the game of life.
Welcome back to Daytona Beach here on the campus of Bethune-Cookman University. I'm Lynn Thompson. It's Terry Sims, our head football coach, the reigning MEAC Coach of the Year. I know you don't want to hear that. That was last year. This is this year. But I'm proud of it, Coach. You know, and I know that that we opened the season on the road against an opponent that on paper was supposed to win the football game. You have expressed your concern and disappointment that we did not play better and did not win the football game. And so now we turn our attention to this week, but our attention does not consume itself with just the football game, because all around the campus and the community, we are celebrating a tremendous weekend which will feature the induction of 13 phenomenal Wildcats who have certainly risen above the standard to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, and 6 of those persons are intimately involved in the football program, and I'll call those names. But before we talk about those 6, let's talk about some of the other ones. Marcia Pender, the nation's best high school basketball coach out of Fort Lauderdale Dillard. We're proud of her. Mervelle Melendez, a Wildcat, a true Wildcat, one of the greatest coaches in America, now the head coach at FIU in baseball. You know, we've got so many other people like that. Calvin Jackson, a former football player, a legendary track coach at Miami Northwestern. You know Calvin. And then you've got Isadore Williams, the man who leads you on the field every week with his great voice in a matter of moments or hours, you know, and he does that call. And then you've got so many other people. Linda Banks, one of the best women's basketball players in the history of the university. But now let's talk about some of the football players. You've got the late, great Damian Cook, gone too soon. Damian, a 6-year NFL guy, played offensive and defensive lines for us here. Then you've got the big 3, Rasheem Mathis. Everybody knows Rasheem, the Buck Buchanan Award winner. Nick Collins, Green Bay Packer Hall of Famer. And Alvin Wyatt Sr., your frat brother, our former head coach here, and a legend in his own right. And then Jerry Simmons, retired NFL guy that played 11 seasons in the NFL. Those guys have a direct connection to the legacy that you are furthering right now in Wildcat football. And how important is it for your team to really see these folks and talk with them and understand how much they have contributed to the program?
Well, first of all, I'll say all of the inductees are very deserving, and it shows the importance of coming to a university and making sure that you're a student athlete, but that you're putting your all into the classroom and into your sport. Mm-hmm. So it's important for our athletes to see these folks come back and see that there are people that walk the same halls they're walking, they practice on the same field, wearing the same colors, that are successful. And they're able to take their talents further to another industry, whether it be teaching or continuing to play or coaching, and make sure that they're making an impact in their communities wherever they are.
Coach, let's pick one. Nick Collins. Nick Collins came here as a superstar athlete, could have played offense or defense. He has a tremendous NFL career. Nick left here, second-round draft choice, had not graduated, left early, and came back after suffering a career-ending injury and graduates. A visible fixture around the program. You talk to him quite often, and Nick now has accomplished what he sought out to accomplish in his chosen field. And now he has turned a page in his life, and he's coaching, raising his kids. But I mean, this is the end result of a commitment of being the best academically and athletically, isn't it?
Right, and I'll say this about Nick. I think aside from all the accolades that Nick has accomplished, all the great things that he has done in his career, he's an even better person. Yeah. And I think that's most important. He can take all his accomplishments and put them to the side and just be Nick Collins. Mm-hmm. And he'll correct you and say, Nick Collins Sr.
You know, that's right.
He's very proud to be a part of this university and a part of this football program. And, you know, he told me the biggest thing that he can do right now and the best thing for him, he is coaching, but he's getting a chance to coach his son.
Absolutely.
So, I think that's big for him, and it's huge for his son and for the kids that are playing with his son to be able to have an NFL guy come in that's also in the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Coach, I had the honor of notifying each one of these Hall of Famers of their induction, and Rasheem Mathis, who is widely regarded as the greatest defensive player in the history of the Jacksonville Jaguars, was speechless. So was Alvin Wyatt, who was moved to tears. There's nothing greater than being recognized by your own family and from your roots. And I think that's important for our fans to understand that as they come out to celebrate the Hall of Fame events on Friday night at the Mary McLeod Bethune Performing Arts Center. But even more importantly, Coach, we need them in the stands for you on Saturday.
Correct. Wildcat fans, we need you in the seats on Saturday to help us defeat the TSU Tigers.
You heard it. Welcome back to the Wildcat Football Insider. We've got just a few minutes left on this show, but enough time, Coach, for us to celebrate the performance of three Wildcats. Your Offensive Player of the Week, Akivas Williams. Let's talk about this quarterback. This is his first game experience, his second rushing attempt, and he breaks one for, 83 yards.
Right, and we had a chance to play all three quarterbacks, and all three quarterbacks went in and played well, but Akivas, he went out and he set out to show that he can, run this offense, and he did it, and scored an 83-yard touchdown to at least put some more points on the board for our team.
And he was named, Rookie of the Week by the MEAC Conference as well. Special teams, Coach, you've been waiting on this, and I know that Frank Brown has only fumbled one punt in his career, and he didn't fumble this one. He took a great punt, made two moves, and went up the left sidelines, and 88 yards later, after cutting across the field, he scores.
Right, and our punt return team did a great job blocking, but a lot of that was Frank. Frank is a vicious competitor, and he wants to do well at everything he does, and he takes special teams just as serious as he takes offense.
Coach, that run, the book says 88 yards, but he zigzagged. He probably went about 212 yards.
It was close to 100 yards with all the in and out and zigging and zagging that he was doing.
And defensively, Daquan Richardson, Coach, a pick six for a touchdown, a block punt that he takes to the 2-yard line, a couple of pass breakups on the day. But one thing I noticed about him, you had to calm him down a couple of times too.
Yeah, he's a higher energy guy, and he loves to compete, and he only has one speed, and that's 100. So, you know, I have to get him and calm him down a little bit, but I won't ever take his edge away from him.
Your secondary, let's talk about them now because, Coach, they looked bigger, stronger, and faster. And you were able to play a couple of guys back there in the secondary, the safety position. Arthur was there, but you had a couple other guys there. Let's talk about the coverage of the defensive backs.
Well, our defensive backfield, you know, we have a couple new guys, Jamal Burgess, and we also have Caleb Holmes that's playing, and Trevor Merritt at safety. Those guys are playing along with Elliott and Daquan and Jeremy Davis, trying to shore up a little bit, but you mentioned they look a little bigger and a little faster. That's all Corliss Fingers and her staff. Okay. Those guys do a great job in the weight room working with our team, and the results are showing on the field right now. You know,
and I guess you had to get bigger and stronger because wide receivers now are getting bigger and stronger, and everybody has one. We've got them. I mean, look at Jawil, and when you look up, you look at John Tavius, and then your tight ends that we have. Everybody's, 6'1", 6'2", even taller, and physical, and it demands that now, doesn't it?
Right, and you know, I try to tell folks all the time when they talk about football, basketball is a contact sport. Football is a collision sport. So you have to have a hard body, you have to be conditioned to play this game, and the athletes now are getting bigger and faster and stronger, and we have to do that to be able to compete.
And compete, we did, Coach, and we came out with just a few minor injuries, the normal bumps and bruises. And I know that was one of your concerns going into the football game. As we prepare, this is our last non-conference opponent coming up this week, as we prepare to look at Tennessee State, a team like Tennessee State, a bruising, huge physical football team, 2-0 on the year, coming in here with a lot of momentum. The previous series, the 2-game series, the visiting team won the game. We lost when they came here, and we won in Nashville. What will it take for us to stop Tennessee State? And tell us in 30 seconds what Tennessee State will attempt to do.
Well, they're going to try to run the ball first. And Rod Reed does a great job with that program, and they're going to try to establish the run first, and we just have to make sure we're up for the challenge. They're going to bring a stingy defense in here. They're solid on special teams, and again, they're going to run the ball to try to set up the pass.
They're going to bring a lot of fans here, and that's why we need you fans at the stadium. 4 p.m. is going to be the kickoff Hall of Fame weekend. If you can't join us at the stadium, make sure you log on to Cat Eye Network or follow us on any one of our social media platforms. But make sure, if you're in town, you got to get a ticket to this event. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster or at the BCU box office. We want to make sure that you are there in the maroon and gold. It's a 4 p.m. kickoff, Daytona Beach Municipal Stadium, the Hall of Fame football game, BCU versus TSU. The Cats are going to battle. For Terry Sims, I'm Lynn Thompson. We'll see you Saturday.